All right, so here's going to be some Access 3 filter and query review. And I have downloaded the Skinner Random Databases, which has several tables in it. Elected presidents, which you can see here, what we've got, and fast foods, which has got a bunch of my favorite restaurants and their foods, and roller coasters, some various roller coasters from all over the place. And I've created a review activity that if you were in class, you would do. But we're going to do this remotely. Um, we're going to go through some of this kind of together. So looking here to begin with, it says start with the president's table. Use filter by selection for starts with the letter J. So let's go ahead and open up the elected presidents. And if you recall, to use the filters, you're either going to use the filter list arrows, and there are text filters, or you can use filter by selection, which is going to be up here in the sort and filter group, and it has a lightning bolt on it. So filter by selection is what we'll do if we're going to highlight something. So if we wanted to do starts with J, we would highlight the J in just any of them that start with J, then go to selection, and then begins with J. And there we go. We would have John Adams and all of these others. Now, when it's filtered, you're going to have that filter button down here that shows you your filtered results. And it's also going to tell you in here how many. So if you have an assignment where it says how many are whatever, go down and look here to find out how many records meet that criteria. So here it says look at the status bar and record the findings. The findings are there are 9 presidents. Now it says keep that filter, but add the criteria that the president is from Massachusetts. So in order to do that, we leave this filter in place. So we're not removing the filter. It tells you here, it still says presidents that begin with J, but then we're going to come to state elected. And we're going to click on the filter list arrow here. And notice that we could do equals and Massachusetts, or you can uncheck that select all and then choose Massachusetts here. When we press OK, we now have a double filter. So we've got a filter here for begins with J and a filter here for equals Massachusetts. And then, of course, our record count is 3. It says to clear all filters. And let's go ahead and see if you remember how to easily clear all of the filters at one time. Which one of the buttons up here do we utilize to clear all filters? And it is going to be the advanced and then clear all filters. That's going to remove all of those little funnels from all of the columns. The next one says use filter by selection to determine how many presidents were lawyers. So in order to do that, let's look through the various column headings. And under which one of the column headings am I going to use to filter for lawyer? Right, I'm going to go in here to occupation. And if we're using filter by selection, how am I going to do that? So filter by selection would imply that I'm going to be clicked in the lawyer field. I could highlight it or just click on the lightning bolt and equals lawyer. We give it a second and it's going to run. And down here, of course, it tells us there are 21 lawyers for presidents. Okay, finally it says clear that filter. Use the filter list arrow to set the total electoral votes to 538. So again, just to clear a single filter, we can go here to the filter list arrow and clear the filter. And then we're going to set the electoral votes here using that filter list arrow. And there are numbers on here, but if you know what your number is going to be, then you can sit here and just type in that number, 538. So we're going to go find the total electoral votes. Oh, it's over here, total electoral votes. I'm going to go here. Can't quite see that, can you? And then for number filters, we'll go to equals, and then you can type in the number, 538. I'll go ahead and press OK. Take a look and identify how many records. So returned in this filter is our 7 records. And again, to remove the filter, I can go to the filter list arrow, clear all filters, clear filter here, or use the advanced and clear all filters from top. All right, so I've cleared the filter. I'm going to close the table, and now we're going to pop into creating some queries. The first one here is to create a new query based on the fast food table with these fields. So we're going to locate our create button here. Let's go ahead and close. And which button would we press if we know we want to set specific criteria up here to create these queries? So yeah, we're on fast foods. We're going to use query design, choose fast food, add, and close. So now we have our items that are listed for fast foods. This one here says that we are going to use food item, restaurant, and calories. So food item, restaurant, and calories. You can drag them down or just double click in the order that you want them. That's going to put your fields down here. Remember, if you decided that you needed to get rid of the middle field, you would utilize the proper buttons up at the top. So which button would we use to get rid of that one if I decided I didn't need restaurant? Yeah, so you would just use the delete columns in order to do that. But I do want it on here, so we're not going to delete it. But we are going to go ahead and set this to Taco Bell food items with greater than 400 calories. So down here, we've got to put our information in the proper place. So we want Taco Bell food items. So under the criteria row, we're going to put Taco Bell and then click off. It's going to put it in quotation marks because it's text. And then we've got to set the criteria for the calories. The instructions tell us greater than 400 calories. So in this criteria area, what would we type? So it's going to be a greater than sign, which is that direction, and then 400. And this does not go in quotation marks because it is numbers. All right. In order to execute the query, we're going to have to press a button up top. What's that button going to be? So we press this first exclamation mark, run, and that's going to give us our results. How many results do we have? 3. 3 from Taco Bell. I'm going to save this one. Actually, we're going to not save that one. We're going to modify this query design by changing the restaurant from Taco Bell to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, if I pop in here and I just change this, right, and I come down here and I say Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I run it, nothing comes up. So what could be the reason? I'm going to just open up the table so you can glance at it. What would be the reason that that's not showing up for me? Yeah, so KFC. It's not Kentucky Fried Chicken, it's KFC. So I'll go back into Query Design. Instead of Kentucky Fried Chicken down here, I'm going to type in actually K, F, and C, like so, and run. And then you get all of your KFCs that are more than those 400 calories. For this one, we are going to save it. I'm going to call it KFC Belly Busters, and that's that. For this, to save it, right-click Save, put in your name, and close it out. All right, the next one says to create a new query based on the roller coaster table with roller coaster, park, and duration. We're going to run a query for any duration fields that were left blank. So roller coaster, park, and duration. Let's go ahead and hop in here. Roller coaster, add, close, roller coaster, park, and duration. So how long this goes. So we haven't gone over this one, but in order to return anything that's blank, we've got to type in a different thing down here at the bottom. Blank is represented by what's called a null value. When you type in null, N-U-L-L, that means there's nothing. There's nothing there. So if we run this, we can see we have 3 results that did not have a value. So that's kind of a good way if you've collected data and maybe you want to find out like who didn't enter their phone numbers, then in that bottom box, you're going to type what? Yeah, null or is null. You can type either one. It'll automatically correct to that. All right, so we'll go ahead and save this one as missing duration coasters, and I'll go ahead and save and close that one. All right, our next one here is create a new query based on roller coasters with these fields: roller coaster park location, inversions, and manufacturers. For this one, we're going to run a query for roller coasters that are in the United States. And I put a hint. Use a wildcard and the actual spelling used in the table for United States. And then we want less than 2 inversions made by Intamin. So can you recall what a wildcard is when we talk about utilizing a wildcard? And I'm going to pop back over here so you can see what these roller coasters look like. We're going to be using a wildcard to be able to pull from information that's in this field. So what would be the wildcard we would use? So the ones that are USA are going to end in USA. So that means we're going to have to let it know there could be anything in front of USA, because if we ran it and we just typed USA in there, it would only bring up results if the only word in the location box was USA. But that's not the case. It's going to be the city, state, and then USA. So we'll put an asterisk, which is the wild card for any number of characters, asterisk USA in order to run that. Now, I'm not going to take the time to run this one just for the sake of you watching me do these, but that's what we would utilize as a wild card. So whenever you're running for that one, you would put asterisks USA in order to do that. So again, if we just typed United States, it wouldn't work. If we just typed USA, it wouldn't work. And less than 2 inversions would be a less than and a 2. Intamin we would put in the proper manufacturer. Okay. The next one here, let's go ahead and we're going to do a double sort. So again, roller coaster, inversions, and manufacturers. So I'm going to go ahead and create this one. Roller coasters. And we want, oops, I added it twice. Roller coaster, inversions, and what did I say? Manufacturer. I don't know why I'm asking you. You can't answer me right now, can you? Anyways, so we're on this one here. This time we're going to double sort it based on manufacturer first and then coaster name. But we want to see them roller coaster, inversions, and manufacturers. If I run it right now, it's roller coaster, inversions, and manufacturers. What we want to do is we want it sorted so all of the manufacturers are together. So like Bollinger and Mabillard are all together. And then the roller coasters made by Bollinger and Mabillard are in alphabetical order. So we're going to have these sorted in alphabetical order, but also kind of grouped because they have repeats. But then we want these to also be in alphabetical order. And if we go through right now and sort, so we say sort by roller coaster, right? It's going to sort them all by roller coaster, but not necessarily by the manufacturer, right? See, there some of those Bollinger in there and some of those Arrow are in there and so forth. There's over 2,000 records here, so this would not be a fun one to have to count. One of the tricks for sorting, though, is if we do this now, it's not going to do anything different because it sorts from left to right. And so if I want to sort by manufacturer first, where does the manufacturer field have to be located in order to sort by it first? It's going to have to be at the very beginning. So I'm going to have to insert a column here and drag my manufacturer down. But if I do that, oops, I can delete this extra column. But if I run this, I'm going to have both. I'm going to have this in here twice. And I don't want to see it first. So in order to make a column disappear, but still be able to use it, that's what this little show button is for. So by unchecking the show button, that's going to hide that column from our results. but the results are still there. Now, if I set this to ascending, it is going to sort them by manufacturer and then break them down alphabetically. So now we have, and there's a bunch of afterburns for this particular one, but now they're going to be in alphabetical order. So Aerodynamics has all their Anaconda rides, all their Cedar Creek mine rides, and these are in different cities, so that's why you don't see them all. Viper is last. Then when it switches to Bollinger, it has their Banshees, Barons, Batman, Bizarro, and continues. So now they're sorted the proper way based on the roller coaster after it's grouped, by that manufacturer first. So that one's a little tricky. You just have to remember that we always sort left to right. And if we don't want to see them in that order, then we're going to have to hide the column. All right, moving on, we'll go ahead and save this one. Actually, we're going to double sort it and then query for 0 inversions. So we want to have those that are 0. Now, 0 is an actual 0. We don't want to put null because it's not blank. It's just the answer is 0. And then how many results do we have for this? Right, we look at our record count, 540. So that's the proper answer for that one. Okay. I'm going to save this as no inversions. And then we'll continue on. This one here, I am going to exclude this one, but this would be fast food. We would show food item in restaurant, items that contain the word chicken. So if they contain the word chicken, we would utilize a wild card again, and less than 300 calories. And then it says don't show the calories in the results, just the food item and restaurant. So we would have to uncheck the show box. We would have to set to less than 300 calories, although we wouldn't see the calories. But I would always run it first, showing it, and then uncheck it. And then containing the word chicken. So that means it could be anywhere in the box, which means you'd put star, chicken, star as your wild card. You would sandwich the word chicken between two asterisks, and that means chicken could be anywhere. All right, let's do this last one here. And I'm actually not going to do the one that's on here. I'm going to show you another one that's a summary query, because you are going to have to do some summary queries. So in order to do a summary query, you have to have like categories of things where you could count something. So we're going to do a summary query by going to create and query design. I think I'm going to try to do, let's just do presidents, and I'm going to put the state that the president is from. And what I want to do is I basically want to count how many presidents have we had from each state. And let's put the states in order. So I'm going to put them in order ascending. Now, if we run this here, all it's going to do is say state elected and president. And they are all together, like California are together, Illinois are together, because I have it sorted, New York's together, but it doesn't say like California has 2 presidents. And that a summary query is going to tell us that. It's going to say California has 2 presidents. So how do we do that? Well, up here at the top is the button for total row. See where it says totals in the show hide group? And so we add that total row. It's going to add another row down here that says total. And notice we can say group by. So what do I want to group it by? I want to group it by state. I want all of those different states together. Now where it's tricky is you have to tell it, what am I going to do with the president names? Well, we're not actually going to see them. We're going to count them. We're going to say how many presidents came from each of those states. Okay, so again, this is called a summary query because we provide summary statistics based on what we tell it to group by and then what we tell it to do with the other data that matches that, which will be president names in this case. When we run this, you can see now at a very quick glance that New York and Ohio both had 6 presidents in this database. So that is what a summary query is. So it's quite different. Again, in order to do summary statistics, you've got to utilize that very special little row down here, which we get by pressing that totals button in show hide, and that's going to give us that additional row. All right, that's 20 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there. We will continue on next time I see you in class.